Hello everybody and welcome back to round number 5 of the MXBGP Championship. We are coming at you from Latvia today. We are in Keegam's, a very popular track on the calendar, one that a lot of people really enjoy. And today is, as you can see, a sand track. It is not quite as rough as a Sardinia, let's say, from round number 2. However, still quite tricky and challenging. Now, myself and Mr. B Clay had a little bit of back and forth in the DMs on this track here, as he sends these to me a couple days before it releases on the shop for everyone to race. And I've done a few laps, took some screenshots, pointed out some areas that I think could do with some slight changes, and what we've ended up with here is what I think is a very enjoyable track, not too difficult, and where all of the lines end up being very similar to each other. One big issue that a lot of sand tracks tend to have on this game is that all the way around the outside is always the fastest line by a mile, and that is something that I was getting the sense of in the original build I got sent of this. However, I went back, took some screenshots in various places, asked if the insides could be smoothed down a little bit here and there, and then the inside be raised up slightly so you can carry it with more speed, and I'm very happy with the end result, and I think you guys will be happy with it as well. Now, Keegam's is a track that goes through a lot of changes over the years, and in terms of the last one, was it 2 years ago that we had the last Keegam's in this game? And then before that it was probably another 3, maybe 4 years prior to that. It's gone through a few iterations in the game, different track builders, so on and so forth. This iteration so far has been my favourite. I enjoyed last time we got to race Keegam's. However, I didn't have very good results, to be honest. My speed overall in it was not too bad. This one I've probably put in, I'd say about 50 laps now at this point. I had a fair few attempts of trying to get my 3 or 4 laps in a row, nice and clean, taking different lines to show off for you boys. And then also, as you know, I've started doing a preview lap on the last lap in third person, just for the third person players. And I really enjoy playing this game in third. I think it's a lot more casual of an experience. It's not quite so try-hard for me, it's a bit more fun. But my god, do I suck in third person in the sand. I was struggling to get my front wheel nice and planted to where it should be, so I was like leaning too far or not enough sometimes, and my timing of scrubs and that is awful, so I'd start jumping off the track. But finally, after like 10 minutes of resetting laps over and over again, I was finally able to get one clean one at the end in third person for you. So don't judge me too hard if it is an absolute cheek slap. It's just for the few third person players that we have left in the community. And there's some fun lines around here. So you saw the wall jump that I just hit. You are able to either roll it and downside and get your momentum going that way, or you can try and send it and downside the little roller after it. And I asked Bradley, like, is that intentional, or do you think we should put a wall there? And we both kind of came to the conclusion that it's just a fun line, you know? It's not, it's going to gain you a little bit of time, but I imagine as the motos go on and the road gets worse and worse, with how these tyres dig down because you're hitting that wall at such a hard speed as well, I don't know if it would be viable for the entire 2 motos. Definitely a qualifying line, definitely a line that is straightforward to hit on both a 450 and a 250. You just have to hit it in the right place. I find that the right hand side of it is a lot smoother, so it won't kick you about as much. And for the sake of keeping tracks as fun as possible, decided to keep it in. Because we could have gone down the Maggiore route and chucked a wall in there to stop people sending jumps. And on the Maggiore one, I understand it, because it fundamentally changes that entire section and how that section should ride. Whereas this one is, I mean, if people have the testicles to send stuff in sand, you know, an extra roller, an extra 2 rollers, then they have the freedom to do so. So we let that one run. So hopefully you boys enjoy sending it off that wall all race long. And the track, I've noticed it's always the same in sand on this game. You either hit a straight or a corner to absolute perfection and you feel like you're on rails going a million miles an hour, or the flip side is you might get into a bump just a tiny bit deeper than you expected, and because of that your bike then starts bouncing upwards rather than bouncing forwards, and you can lose up to a second just in the length of one straight. And this track is no different. You have to make sure you hit your marks around here, follow the corners all the way around them, enter the rut at the very beginning, exit it at the very end, and that's the way you'll get your best times. Later today, or it might even be up at the point you're watching this, over on the Instagrams and the TikToks, I will be uploading my like best lap up to this point as I have been on these Mondays ahead of the races, and so far on a 450 my best lap around the track is a 1:54.2. So in terms of qualifying, what I expect out of the top boys this week, I would say either high 52s or low 53s. The only place I really felt like I could gain time on my hot lap was on the very last straight before the finish line. I jump off the inside roller and I land a little bit too heavy on one of the bumps, and it bounces me up rather than bouncing me forward, so I lost a lot of momentum there. So as you're kind of learning the track, if you can be under 2 minutes 100%, if you can be around the 57s, 58s, maybe even 59s, you know, it is a difficult track, there will be a big skill gap, then I think you would probably 100% be able to qualify and get into the top 40 for the EU race. On the NA side of things, they always go second or so faster on the cut-off time than they were. They've had the track for a little bit longer. So yeah, maybe 55s, maybe 56s, because again, it is a difficult track, and that hot lap did take me, I want to say, maybe 20 attempts. And by attempts, I don't mean entire laps, I mean just, you know, pressing restart as soon as you crash and going again, for example. But yeah, really fun track. I have enjoyed it. A little bit sad, to be honest, that I've decided to commentate through this GP season, because there is yet to be a track that I haven't enjoyed. Or maybe I'm enjoying them more because I'm not racing them and there's no pressure for me. No idea. But yeah, here's the third person lap. I don't know what the lap time was on this third person lap. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably only just under 2 minutes, like it's so much slower. But it's nice seeing how the bike moves underneath you, because whilst you get a feeling for it in first person, it's hard to know exactly what's going on. So it's weird seeing how the bike moves over all this rough stuff, and this setup that I had on the KTM, I had to go digging through my old videos to find the sand setups to slap onto this bike, and it makes a big difference. Having a sand setup versus a normal setup, it's night and day. You know, your bike actually moves forwards on a sand setup rather than bouncing up in the air all the time. And off camera, I have been doing a little bit of practicing on the American outdoor side of things, just so I'm not going into the 2025 outdoor season completely newbie, you know, just to get a few reps under my belt. And it's feeling okay. You know, just been putting in some practice laps, trying to work on some suspension settings as well on the outdoors. And I don't know what bike I'm going to run, to be honest. The KTM feels really comfortable for me, yet anytime I hop on the Yamaha, whilst it doesn't feel as comfortable, it's definitely faster, and the lap times are a reflection of that. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks once the Supercross is all said and done and the outdoors season begins. But yeah, I hope you boys enjoy this track, and girls. You know, I can't like discriminate around these parts. We could have some females racing the series these days. You know, the game is bigger than ever, even if it doesn't necessarily always feel that way. It feels like it's shrinking in an alarming rate, but the Steam charts don't show that. Steam charts show the game is as healthy as it ever has been. But again, Bradley, JV, solid job all around. Really good stuff. And next round, very exciting for me, because it's going to be my hometown race. Even though I'm not racing, I get to commentate it. Matterley Basin. So look forward to that. Hope you enjoyed. Good luck on the track. See you in the next one. Enjoy the black screen, and now the outro. Goodbye.